Hey guys, Harv here, and welcome to the test pilot for the 12th of October 2012. This is the show in which we take viewer-submitted ships, test them out, and then hopefully make some improvements to them. Today's ship is the Munshine 11B, that's Munshine 11B, created by Wayfair and submitted by Wayfair, so thank you very much for the entry. This is a ship that I've not seen at all before, so let's see how it goes. Just gonna test it out to start with, and hopefully it's not too massive, otherwise my computer may well lag. Wow. Jesus Christ. Okay. Wow. That is literally all I can say. I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, that's like twice the size of the tower. Okay. It looks actually quite realistic as well, which is pretty interesting. I guess we're going to launch. Let's actually put this into daytime so we can fully appreciate this thing. I'm not going to make any comments similar to last time. I'm not going to make any comments until we play about with the ship and see what actually happens. But just first impressions, bloody hell. Looks awesome. Okay, let's do this. Throttle up, SAS on, and find control. Launching in 3, 2, 1. 2 FPS. I do not have a gaming PC, let me tell you that, although that might change. Something that I might like to talk about. 4 FPS, 3 FPS. The ship is wobbling, but it's certainly not anything we really have to worry about. One thing I'd like to note is the fact there are no boosters, which is a choice that me from a few months ago would have applauded, and me now is kind of puzzling over. There are plenty of reasons why not to use boosters, obviously. They're unstable, they're uncontrollable, I mean, but yeah, there's a lot of difficulties that come with it. But with the design, I think that using boosters might actually help, although no doubt Wayfair has certainly experimented with all sorts of things, and things have gone badly, but I guess we'll find out for ourselves. So, it's a bit slow off the mark, which is due to the lack of boosters. Let's actually take a look at how the thing works. We've got 5 heavy lifting engines currently, with 4 fuel tanks each. Bloody hell, wow. That's pretty awesome. If it can accelerate us to pass 200 meters per second before we get to 10,000 meters, then I'm not at all worried about its velocity. And it can. So that's perfectly great. Fins are placed in a good location down at the bottom. It's a nice aerodynamic design, especially with these fuel tanks pointing out. I have to say it's weird, but it looks awesome. I've never actually ever done something like that. Okay, so we're going to start tilting over. How does this thing handle? Obviously, because it's got 5 lifting engines, but that are all vectoring, it moves pretty well. I'm glad there is little or no RCS. There is actually 1 RCS tank at the top, which I guess is just for helping us move this thing around. Yep, that's good. Oh, that stage has run out, so I guess we jettison. Oh, okay, yep. Engines fire at the same time as jettisoning. That's a good feature, I like that. Provides for more accurate kind of things. Whoa, losing a bit of control here. That's okay, that's just my fault, not the fault of the ship. Provides having your engines fire in the same stage as you did couple the last one. Potentially dangerous because you could damage the debris you leave behind and it could explode and do terrible things to you, but it basically makes you more efficient in your trajectory. Okay, so I'm presuming we have these 4 outside tanks that are the inner one is draining from them, and then we shall separate them 4 at a time. Oh, okay. That's why. Oh, I get it, yep. Okay. I should have ejected them earlier, and I should have realised, but never mind. Never mind what our things. 72, that's fine. And presumably these next engines will actually run out soon. Clever staging. I have to say. I'm thinking that the engines... How are these? These are nearly empty. These 4 engines and the heavy lifting engine were all running off of the first 4 stacks to detach. Drop them. And these are running... And yeah. Sorry, it's hard to be consensus whilst trying to analyse and fly the ship, as I think I pointed out several times. So all that lifting and all that stuff, if at the hands of a better and more of a pilot who is concentrating more on his work, could probably have gotten us extremely far, actually. But this is looking good. First of all, we're going to take this thing to the moon or to Minmus just to test it out, to get familiar with it, and then we add improvements and take it to a different planet. We have 1 tank of fuel left exactly. It's nice and neat. Now we have some time, so I'm just going to look at the next stage. Is it landing capable? Because that was a big problem with our last one. Yes, we seem to have a big one here and these parachutes on the side. Is that 2 and a big one, which basically means about 4 or 5. Yep, that seems reasonable. Fuel tanks here, using nuclear rockets. 4, good number. Good solid number. I'm actually loving this a lot. One thing I can recommend is that ladders aren't working. The weight of an individual ladder is equal to the weight of an extendable ladder. And an extendable ladder covers far greater distances, so I would recommend using extendable ladders. It makes little differences, leaves you less lopsided, but it looks like an intelligent design, which is really, really great. I enjoy being outsmarted. I may well be using these in using this rocket in other videos if it turns out as well, performs as well as I expect it to, with some improvements of HOCgaming nature, obviously. We can burn. It's not hard to move around either. Even in its massive state, it's really not that... well, it's not maneuverable, it's certainly not nimble, but it's not particularly hard to control either. Oh, let's actually put the RCS on, try and help us with this. How many RCS thrusters do we have? So we have some down here and some at the top. That's fine, that's good. We can take SAS off, obviously. Is it just the 1 tank? Yeah, I think it is. Good. You don't need an awful lot of RCS at all. Okay, 88 and 100. I'd rather that be higher, but we keep on drifting off in this direction, which kind of annoys me. 101, 93. Come on, just a bit more. Just a bit more. Okay, that's fine. Perfectly fine. Right, we can take RCS off now. Look at our tank. Yeah, we have 1 RCS tank. That's good. Okay, right. Going to Minmus then. We can eject that. And once again, instantaneous engine burning. That's good. I like that a lot. So here is our stage. We have... What is training first? These tanks. Good. And then those can be detached in the next stage, and just keep an eye on our trajectory, it's fine. Those will be detached, and then we shall begin draining off of either the inner or these tanks, either of which is fine because it doesn't really matter. And yeah, that's all well and great. Taking a while. This is the problem I have with interplanetary transfers. They're going to take so long with these nuclear engines because each one only has like 60 thrust in whatever arbitrary units that is. That's 3 times the thrust of the LV-909 small orbital engines, and they're more efficient in deep space, which is all well and good. Okay, accelerating, which is nice. We had an encounter with the moon, but we don't really care right now. Actually, don't need RCS at all on this stage. Taking back what I've said, we have plenty of control. Being realistic now. Where is the prograde? Ah, it's way up here. How well equipped is this thing to landing? We have 4 landing legs, which gives us the idea that we should be landing on low gravity planets with this, definitely. Or low gravity moons, in fact. Yes, that looks fine, and we have plenty of thrust actually to get us off of any moon I care to think about. But yeah, 4, we might be a bit wobbly considering how top heavy this thing actually is. But landing wise, from my perspective, we actually look all well and ready to go. Ah, I've left that too late, haven't I? You know what, let's do another lap. Observatory lap. Another lap, another orbit, surely. Warping down onto the surface. I'm not worried about landing too fast. We should have plenty of delta V to deal with this. Though we are pretty low. Wow, this actually lets us warp at very low altitudes quite quickly. It's pretty cool. Alright, burning. But our landing burn, and we're still using those first tanks. I think this thing has ridiculous amounts of fuel. Really ridiculous. Let's scout the landing legs. Bringing this thing up. Pro style. Okay, so our altitude should actually be represented by the altimeter at this point, because it is pretty much sea level, so we can trust that. But we could land with radar. Actually, one thing, let's have a look. Nope, you're the commander. We don't want to look at you. Have a look in this view. Just drop that slightly. We're at 200 meters. How is the view? It's alright. It's not bad at all, actually. 7 meters a second. Dropping it ever so slightly. 6 meters. It's coming up. Oh, not want to do that. There we are. Switching back out is a lot easier to land out here. Gives you a much better sense of perspective. Certainly. Alright, dropping, and we can actually put the SCS on. We can see our shadow. This really does look like a base, doesn't it? Very much so. Just steady. And there we go. We're actually still burning when we touch the ground. Perfect landing, perfect lander, really. It is top heavy and certainly intended for flat terrain. I think on a hill this would easily roll over. But other purposes this could certainly help with this kind of design. Landing in seas, for instance, that might help. Although I don't think we'll have enough thrust to get out of anywhere that has a sea, so that might be a bit irrelevant. Let us prepare to EVA. Now we seem to have a decoupler on our ladder, which may interfere slightly, but nonetheless, Bill Kerman is beginning his EVA. Just walking straight through the decoupler. What a pro. Straight down the ladder. Extending this. And I haven't actually been here for a while. As he falls off the ladder. One giant fall for a Kerbal kind. I haven't been to Minmus for a long time. It's nice seeing the place again. Especially flying someone else's ship. But yeah, this definitely looks like a base. We could put some, I don't know, fuel tanks around the edge or something and make it hospitable. But I really like that. I think that's really, really awesome. So, onwards to greater, bigger and greater things, surely, with the success of this craft. Okay, so there are actually remarkably few things that I want to change with this ship. Primarily RCS, I think we can get rid of that. I did call this a parachute by mistake, it's obviously not, forgive me for that, so we can actually completely get rid of this. These are going to be for landing, so we can get rid of them, and actually replace that with the blue one. They look so similar, the parachute and the nose cone. We scroll up a little. There we are, that should be on properly. And I think this is probably a bit too much fuel, so although I hate to do it, I'm actually going to remove this. We're going to keep the design, don't worry. Seriously, don't worry, Wayfair. We are going to certainly have slanting fuel tanks, but I just don't want to have two of them. We take it like this and take those fuel tanks. We're going to put it like this, if you don't mind. This is my show, I'll do whatever I like. Take some struts to... Actually, you know what? I don't think they need struts, to be honest. All it really needs is some fuel tanks, fuel lines to drain it in the correct order. From there to that. That looks rubbish. From there to there. That's a bit better. Okay, yes. We have our landing legs, 4 of them, that's completely fine. Get rid of these RCS thrusters. Ladder, I'm not going to bother changing it. There's no real point. Sort out the staging in a few minutes time. This works well. Maybe vectoring engines here, actually. We can actually... Yeah, just because I don't really like those regular engines, we're going to change those to vectoring. More healthy fuel consumption. Actually, what would be even better would be to change them to aerospikes. Yes! Aha, now that is a significant improvement. Definitely, I'm glad I made that, yes. I'm surprised those aerospikes actually fit on. They don't, generally. Take these struts and connect them once more. Like that, somewhat, I believe. Yes, that's all fine. Yes, I like the look of that. The SAS unit is actually here, which means that when we detach this and these all fire, we actually don't have any SAS for the remainder of the journey. Now, normally I would complain about this, but to be honest, I managed well enough, and saving weight, certainly. So yeah, I'm going to keep it that way. And as for the launch stage, actually those clamps look a bit weird. Yeah, those clamps aren't arranged symmetrically. This is rocket science. You can't have things that are desymmetrical, or however you say that word. Yeah, they all work. I'm just going to add some boosters, I believe. Although we have significantly reduced the weight. Is it actually worth it? You know what? I don't think it is. I don't think it is worth it. I would think we'll leave the ship like this. Alright, that's all good. We'll actually rename it Munshine 11C. Munshine 11C. That's all well and good. Interesting that it's called Munshine, actually, because that suggests it's only intended for the Mun, when this has got the fuel to go so much further than that. We'll see. This is definitely capable of multiple moon landings. We could probably, I don't know, do maybe 4 in one mission with this. We should try that. We should try that depending on how this performs. Definitely. Let's have a look at the staging. Launch clamps all need to drop on the first stage, along with the first 5 engines, and then that decouples, and the next engines and their 8 respective stacks fire, and they drop 4 at a time. The last 4 drop at the same time as this, is that correct? No. Probably the last 4 is actually these 4. Okay. Create a new stack for them, a new stage, and put this above it, which remains us with those, and those engines fire. Then we drop those extra fuel tanks, separate from there, and the command module has its parachute. There we are, the Munshine 11C. Let's test it out and see where we can go. Okay, it is time for us to launch the Munshine 11C. Throttle up, find control, SAS on, and we are ready. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, engines. Ooh, I was worried I was going to hit the launch clamps then. Thank God it didn't blow up on the spot. I was worried we would change some crucial part of the ship that kept it from destroying itself upon launch, but no, it seems to be a very solid and moddable design, which is great. This is definitely something I would not have created myself, I don't think. not an original idea from Hoc. So it's really great that I am doing this show. It's providing me with an insight onto many different ways the game can be played. So thanks again, Wayfair, for submitting this entry. Where are we going with the Munshine 11C? We're going to Jool, and we're going to go to some other Jool moon instead of Lathe, because the only one we have been to is Lathe at the moment, and I think we should pay our respects to the others. They are certainly interesting in their own right, so that's what we're going to do. And these engines have nearly ran out. Okay. And begin the next stage. I actually want to just throttle down to about half. Don't want to risk blowing anything up. Also, we do have a lot of acceleration on this stage. And throttling back up now. Okay, and that's run out, so we can drop the last aero spikes as it spins out of control. There they go. Okay, we're in a pretty low orbit, so we're going to need quite a bit of speed to circularize this. But not too much, it seems. We have a very heavy engine, certainly. Okay, 80 and 77, that's fine. So to keep down the length of a video that was otherwise going to be a couple of hours long, basically, we got to Jool. We had some mishaps along the way. The ship blew up when it changed sphere of influence once for some reason, so we had to reload that. But here we are, and due to just it being a good choice at the time, we're going to land on Vall, the rocky ice moon of Jool. It's got pretty high gravity, so it might be quite hard. And it's going to be pretty cold, certainly. But it's not one I've landed on before. So, whatever the case, it's going to be interesting. And let's hope that we have enough fuel to actually get home. This is all to play for, seeing as I'm not actually going to be retrying this mission if we can't get home. We can certainly get into orbit and then get picked up by a return crew. But I was rather hoping this would have enough fuel to take us home. Oh well. Maybe not. We can't say no for sure though, seeing as our mass is decreasing. Just bringing it down nice and slowly. Fine control wasn't actually on, so we're going to have that on now. Seem to have found some level terrain, which is good. What we hoped for, certainly. Although it matters less now, seeing as we have actually got rid of those slanted fuel tanks. They were the main concern, making us top heavy like that. Getting some weird lag, which is not useful on airless moons like this. Disconcerting, actually. Oh, we're going pretty fast. I want my control, damn it. Lingering too long, and we're actually pointing prograde. God, this thing can be slightly, almost a bit hard to control. Ooh. Will it topple over? No, I don't think so. That was one of the worst landings in HOCgaming history. Wow. Oh, but one interesting place. This does look extremely interesting, actually. Let's get out and see what it's like. Bill Kerbin. The commander always has the worst view, so that's why he receives the best EVA time. Let us see what the gravity is like here. Ow. He dropped off, but that's okay. It's pretty low. Not so low that we can jump as high as the ship. I think it's higher than the moons. Yeah, it is higher than the moons, definitely. But it's definitely low enough. That'd be quite a nice colony off of this, actually, I think. Please don't die. Yeah. Alright, getting back into orbit at least. We might have to wait another time to see if we can actually get this thing to go home. I'm confident, but not too confident. We'll see. Everything depends on whether we can get into orbit easily or not. Now we seem to be almost along the equator, so I'm just going to burn for 90 or 270. It doesn't really matter. We'll go for 90. And we'll do it cinematic style. Okay, that's not cinematic style. Right, 90 degrees is this direction. Okay, we are in orbit with quite a lot of fuel being spent. This ship certainly has enough fuel to do a lot of things. Getting into orbit is a particularly impressive feat. I'm not confident in its ability to get back. Maybe in some other video we shall attempt to get back. Maybe I'll attempt to do it, and I'll tell you how it turned out, certainly. But nonetheless, it is time to draw our conclusions on this ship. This ship, this one in particular, is the Munshine 11C, but the Munshine 11B was a very, very ingenious ship. I did especially like the big, long tool kind of style of it, and the asparagus staging, I believe it's called, where you have basically an outside ring of stacks, of engine stacks that drop out 2 at a time or 4 by a time or whatever. That's a very good method, something I want to employ in my rockets in the future, and the ship itself worked extremely well. So, in conclusion, it was actually an extremely good ship. That is my review of the ship, and also my impressions. Again, RCS, as with most ships, probably down to just my plain playing style, I do not really like using RCS, and that's why I removed it. But, as you can see in this case, it really isn't that necessary. You can control the ship perfectly fine with just regular controls. So anyway, if you liked the video, please do like the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. You can enter your ship into the KSP test pilot by leaving me a personal message or dropping me a comment. Either way, you need to provide me with a download link, and preferably some explanation on how the ship works, or just anything you want to add. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.